for coming on, Michael.
My pleasure.
Mr. Michael Mota joining us today on the show, and been following you for a while, and you're always working, man. You're always busy.
Yes, sir.
One thing I wanted to ask you is how did virtual cons come about?
So virtual cons started really because of the pandemic. We first started with conventions. So a little bit about myself. I own two venues in Rhode Island. One of the venues is in Providence, Rhode Island, and we did a Sopranos themed event. So Federico Castelluccio, Furio from The Sopranos, is a friend of mine. And we had some conversations, and what we did is we did a night with the Sopranos where we had Federico Castelluccio, we had Vinny Pastore, Big Pussy, we had Jason Serbone, who played Jackie Jr., and Dan Grimaldi, who played Patsy Parise, and the four of them came to my venue. It was a sold out event. I got to be the moderator. It was very cool, and we had a great time. And what happened was someone who ended up becoming a partner of mine, Daniel Trader, reached out to me on social media, said, listen, I love what you were doing with the Sopranos. Love to give me a call. And I called him, and he had curated over the last 5 years at that point, one of the largest Sopranos fan base around, and wanted to do a small event. So of course, with my entrepreneur skills, I don't like to do things small. I said, okay, let's do the biggest event in history. And that was how Sopranos Convention born. That was in 2019. We had an unbelievable event, sold out, 15,000 people over 3 days. It was just a killer weekend. We had 55 Sopranos there. We had, names escaping me, but the band that played the song Woke Up This Morning, great guys, flew them in from England. Long story short, it was a great event. We got a lot of publicity from it. And then we started MobmovieCon, which was going to compile all the mob boxing con, and the pandemic hit. Once the pandemic hit, we were like, oh boy. So I had a restaurant, an event venue, and a convention company. All three of them, paused to nothing because obviously you can't do any of those during the pandemic. So during the first week, we kind of looking at the news, just like everybody else, wondering what the world was going to look like. Second week, then third week, I said, okay, we got to do something different. So I reevaluated everything, and I called my team into a meeting, and I said, okay, we're going to change the focus of our company. We're now going to be a technology company. We're going to build an app, and that app is going to be called VirtualCon. And we're going to bring in the virtual and the live, and we're going to combine the two of them. And that's how VirtualCon.
Wow, man, that's awesome. You got to do what you got to do to survive. I was impressed how you came up with that, especially during the pandemic. And it looks like you just continue to grow as well.
Yeah, unfortunately in life, we're all put in position to do certain things. And, having a restaurant, having an event venue, having this convention company, a lot of people relied on me. So you kind of have to figure out how you're going to make decisions and reinvent when you need to. Of course, it's easy to kind of sit down and say, all right, it is what it is, and kind of just wait it out. And if I had waited it out, clearly we wouldn't have anything, right? We would have had some things. So, you kind of take that time, and, time is really in life what really showcases what you got in you, and you figure out what you got to do, and you make it work. So it was out of need that we come up with VirtualCon. And again, it morphed into something completely, different than I had originally anticipated. But that's the other thing in life. You go down one road, and there's constant forks, and you got to figure out which road you want to continue to go down. So, it's been a wild journey, to say the least.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now the next question I wanted to ask you is how did so you got the virtual coin, how did that tie into all this, and how did you come up with that?
Yeah, so as we were building VirtualCon, obviously, again, the world dictates a lot of what's happening, right? So crypto was a big thing that was happening. So I said to myself, it would be great to be the entertainment coin, a coin that you could use for different entertainments, either be a concert, buy a t-shirt, do things on our app. So during the time where we had done MobmovieCon, I had a big meeting in regards to the funding of the Gotti 2 movie. And during that time, one of the people that was interested in investing in us had talked about something they were doing with a coin. And of course, my mind, boom, I said, okay, I want to do my own coin. And it was shortly after that I told him, listen, I gave him the whole spiel. I said, I want to do a virtual coin. I want to be able to, and here it is right here, the virtual coin. I said, I want to be able to have people utilize that coin to buy things in the future. And eventually the more utility you can give the coin, the more valuable that coin becomes. And, that's kind of what we're building right now. So, it's funny, you have folks that really understand business and life and how things take time. And then you have the complete opposite of the spectrum of people that just want shit yesterday, and think that things are just going to happen, so I kind of, I'm constantly balancing all of those kinds of things that show people that, things don't happen that quickly. It takes time, but that's how the coin was born, so we're integrating everything. What I like to tell people is we're building an ecosystem, and that ecosystem feeds off of each other. So everything feeds itself. So the conventions feed the app feeds the coin feeds the app, and it's a constant building of different.
Man, that's pretty cool. Like Mota world.
Mota world, yeah.
And I've seen you going to be a producer on Gotti too. Is that right?
Yeah. So during this time, a lot of things happened, and one of the things is we wanted to produce quality piece. Right now, content is king, so if you have the content, people want to be there. So we launched our own streaming platform worldwide. It's called VCTV. We're building out the pieces now and adding the content. And during that time, I had met John Gotti Jr. As you may know, Armand Assante is a chairman of our board. He always wanted to do the Gotti 2 movie. So we negotiated the rights to be able to film the Gotti 2 movie with Armand Assante being the lead, and that'll be aired on our own platform. So it's exciting.
He played an amazing Gotti in the first one. Yeah. It's gonna be. I can't wait. Sure.
Yeah, he's the best.
How do you manage all these different businesses and that? You're just always.
It's certainly difficult. In certain days, I feel like I'm in quicksand, because one sucks you dry and then you're trying to get to the other one. It's kind of an interesting question. I balance it every day, and I balance what should I keep, what should I, try to sell off, because what takes about your time, in life, time is your most valuable commodity. So it's constantly figuring out, where do you want to spend your time? Right now, my focus is building Virtual Cons 3 fam. We were just acquired. I don't know if you know that. We were just acquired by a publicly traded company. So now I'm going to be the president of that company. So that's why I'm here in Florida. We're doing some paperwork. But it's funny, certain things build up to get you to the next point, right? So when I look back at life, I see a lot of mistakes, but those mistakes have what kind of got me to where I am. So, you figure out certain things, and certain things just so happen to put you in a spot where you may not be comfortable, but, you utilize that. So I love the event venue. I love the restaurant, but, it's all about how much time. People are really what's most valuable. If you have the right people in place, then you don't have to worry about it. So, I would say that a balance of people, and a balance of just crazy work ethic is how I do it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I want to ask you, what was your first business before you got into all this, where you started off?
So my first business, so most people don't know, I actually was a school teacher. So when I got out of, I started work early. I was the youngest, my wife laughs at me. I was the youngest manager of Jiffy Lube. While I was in college, I was working at Jiffy Lube, getting my education degree, climbed the ranks pretty quick there, became the youngest general manager in the country. While I was getting my degree in school, again, not playing around much, doing more work than most, what most people are playing, I was working. But then I became a school teacher. During that time, believe it or not, in between the Jiffy Lube and the teacher, I ended up opening up my own wedding videography company. So I did wedding videography for about 10 years, where I would do, I did pretty much everything, met the clients, shot the weddings. I was doing about 50 a year, plus being a school teacher. So that's where I get my passion for video and editing. So I was actually video and editing about 55 weddings a year. That's really tough work. Yeah,
that's crazy, 12,
14-hour weddings. But, it was something that I loved doing. So that really was my first, entrepreneurial mission was the wedding videography, and then from there I've done so many different things.
Oh man, that's pretty cool. You got like one of the best work ethics I've ever seen, I think. What
Well,
advice
I
would you
had
give? Oh, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
What advice would you give to someone who's starting out? They want to do what you're doing, and they want to be their own boss and just start off in the world?
You know, what I would say is there's no better job than being able to do it yourself. And there's no worse job than being able yourself. So let me explain. So it's a double-edged sword, right? So there's a reason why there's only really 1%, 2% of people that will be able to be an entrepreneur, a true entrepreneur, not a wantrepreneur. And there's two different things. A wantrepreneur is someone that thinks they own a business or they think they're doing it, but they're not willing to risk it all. And they're not willing to do what it takes to get it done. The entrepreneur is willing to risk it all, you know, take the beating, you know, if you picture like a prize fighter, you know, I constantly feel like I'm in the 8th round, 12th round, whatever the fight is, and I'm getting beat up from every direction. You know, there's a lot of days you just want to quit. There's a lot of days you say, screw this, it's not worth it. And I've been on the other side where I was a school teacher making a salary. Every Friday you get your paycheck. You know, I went into school at 8:30. I love teaching. I love the kid. But you don't balance other families. You don't balance other people getting paychecks, you know, relying on you. On a Friday, you don't have to worry if payroll's there. You know, just before I came on this phone call, I'm going through checks, who's paid, who's not paid. You know, then you got payroll taxes, you got a ton of different things. So the positives are, you know, you do get to work for yourself. You do get to make your own hours. You certainly get to make a statement, but I got to say, it's not built for everyone. You know, there are certain people that just like that reliance of their paycheck and not have to worry. This is a 24/7, 7-day-a-week job. You know, funny story. Last night, I'm going to bed at 11 o'clock. I'm in Florida. You know, I'm doing meetings after meetings, doing different things. And then I'm getting attacked on Facebook by some idiot who I don't even know what the hell is drunk or something like that. Message me on Facebook telling me I'm this, I'm that, you know, don't even know who this individual is. So there's that part of it that's really a stressor, you know. And there's that, but I wouldn't discourage people, but I wouldn't want to encourage everybody to do it. You know, I always have a saying, there's an ass for every toilet seat, right? So I'm 41 years old now. And there's been a lot of people that have come with me and then gone, you know, by the wayside. And, you know, a lot of it is because they can't take the heat when the heat comes in the kitchen. You know, there's those days that you don't have any cash and you got to figure out how the hell you're going to get it. And you got to beg, borrow, and steal to get it, to make sure that people could get paid. And, you know, people will say a lot of things, feel like, yeah, they're in your corner. And then when the money runs dry, you know, it's like a spigot, right? The spigot goes dry, so does everybody else. So I would say being an entrepreneur and owning your own business, it's very lonely at times. You know, it's very lonely at times. But if you get through all of that, I get to see my kids' sporting events. I get to take them on vacation. You know, if I don't want to go to work till 10 o'clock, I don't go to work till 10 o'clock. So it's got its pros and cons. I would definitely say that. And it really relies on what kind of person you are. You know, I certainly encourage it. I'm the first one, if the kids are doing a lemonade stand, to give them a $20 bill. It's the greatest thing you could do in the world, but it's certainly a stressful one.
I always see you spending time with your family, man. That's awesome. And you're just always doing something cool as well.
Yeah, you know, look, life is about the journey, right?
Yeah.
So again, you walk a double-edged sword. Here I am trying to create something very large, right? So I was just having this conversation with my father-in-law, and I said to him, you know, I don't want to be ordinary. You know, if I wanted to be ordinary, I could be safe where I am now. You know, I have a restaurant, I have an event venue, I could sit there and do those things. But, you know, I feel more inside me that I could do more. And I really want to hit that grand slam. Now, you'll have those people that say you're really just doing it because, you know, you want the monetary things and, you know, you don't care about anyone. But that's really not the reality. The reality is I would love to help as many as I can as we go. You know, my dream is to have enough cash to be able to give back as much cash as I brought in, you know, and I really want to enjoy the journey. You know, what people don't know or might not know is, you know, my son's 12 and I've taken him to Disney every year since born. I've been to every doctor's appointment, every dentist appointment, pretty much, if I'm not traveling. And, you know, I have a bond between him and my daughter that's like nothing else. I would die tomorrow, you know, for either one of them. That's my passion. Now, as far as being an entrepreneur, you have to be a special breed of a person that, you know, like I said, I take beatings all the time. Last night, trying to go to sleep, like I told you, you know, you're taking a beating from someone you don't even know. You know what I mean? And it's like, you have to almost learn not to worry about it, but you also, it's troubling because I can't tell you how many people know more about me than me.
Yeah.
Which means they're just making shit up. You know what I mean? And it's interesting because sometimes you sit there and say, wow, where do they even come up with this shit? And, you know, it's people that I think yearn for that kind of thing. You know, I'll give you an example. Some people see me in private jets, but they don't understand that most likely I'm shooting like a video shoot and that money gets funded. They think I'm just, you know, pissing money away, you know, driving nice cars, doing all of these things. They don't understand what it takes to get there. They only see the glim and the glam.
Wow, that's pretty cool, man. I've seen you in some nice cars too, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
You know, and the other, you know, at the end of the day, you also want to play a little bit, right? If everything is just work, you're going to burn yourself out. You know, there's nothing better than sitting in a convertible and being able to take a ride after work. You know, what people don't see is the 7 o'clock you're up and you're getting beat up all day long. And at 8 o'clock, you just want to take a 20-minute drive. You know, it's not like I'm sitting in the car all day long, because if I was, I wouldn't be able to afford the car.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you got to have some reward for all the work you're doing.
Yeah.
What's your top 3 movies of all time?
I would say Gotti is one of them. I love Forrest Gump, which is funny because there's a Bubba Gump shrimp company right down the road. I ate there twice this week. I would say Forrest Gump because I love how it was filmed in a way where it was futuristic. I'd have to say the Top Gun, you know, is one of the, you know, top Maverick. I thought that was an unbelievable movie. So I wouldn't have said that last week, but, you know, and of course I love The Godfather and, you know, all that.
Yeah, for sure, man. I want to ask you too, what do you think happened at the end of Sopranos? Like your personal...
At the end?
Yeah.
I think, sorry, of course, there's texting me while I'm even on a podcast. What happened at the end? I think that at the end, it leaves it up to you, right? Yeah. So there is no end. And that's why 20 something years later, you know, we can do you know, all this stuff. Sopranos still love it. There really was no end. You know, in people's minds, some people think killed, some people think life just goes on. I would say that life just goes on and they were finished. What I would have liked to see, and I think it was possible, was a movie when James Gandolfini was alive to kind of finalize how that all came together. I didn't enjoy The Many Saints of Newark. That probably will get me some negative comments, but no, I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't think that you can touch something so great and ever make it more worthy. Very similar to the Gotti with Travolta. I think John Travolta is a phenomenal actor, and I actually like the movie, but you can't touch the first one when it was so great. Yeah. Sometimes things need to be left alone. Yeah. And I think that's where Maverick Top Gun really shocked me, because it was so good that it was a standalone. You know, you didn't need to worry about the first one. It was like perfectly done.
Yeah, that's how I thought the first time I seen the ending too. Like as the years have gone on, I felt like it was just left open to how you want to interpret it.
Yeah, which is brilliant when you think about it. You know what I mean? Because there's so many people in the world, let them decide.
Yeah.
And in the end, no one will ever decide. And that's how things continue to get better and better.
Just lives forever.
That's it.
I feel the same about Many Saints. I think they should have, like the amount of time it took to come out too, it should have just been a series. I think they just, they dropped the ball.
You know, the casting on Sopranos is what made the Sopranos, and the casting in Many Saints blew. I mean, it almost looked like they were Moxil, you know, Van Zant's character with that guy. I mean, just, I don't know, something just didn't do it. I wouldn't say it was terrible, but as a diehard fan, I would say,
Yeah, even Paulie's character, I don't know. Couldn't get into it.
They were the best. They were the best. Those roles were unbelievable. You can't, even Gandolfini's son, you know, God rest Gandolfini's soul, you know, it's just not the same.
Yeah, you can't come close to that all-star cast.
Sometimes you can't recreate magic.
Yeah. What's your plan? What's your vision for the next 12 months? Can you give us a sneak peek into any of the upcoming projects you got?
Yeah. So the objective is we're on the OTC, which is over the counter stock exchange. In the next week, you'll see a press release coming out so people can look at exactly what the name of the company. Unfortunately, with the SEC, it makes it more difficult. The public has to see it first, then I can talk about it. But the next 12 months, the objective is to get to the NASDAQ, you know, and get to ringing the bell, where it's a bigger stock for people to be able to purchase. During that, on the virtual con side, is to develop phase 2 of the app, launch a couple of events. We have a huge sporting event that I'm still trying to finalize the loose ends on, and the movie. So I'm looking to do those 2 things and get phase 2 of the app together. We're going to be launching a real estate project. So the company has three pillars: real estate, entertainment, and we'll find the technology piece will involve Web 3.0. It'll involve the app and other apps that we're going to be creating, as well as some meta stuff that we're doing now. On the entertainment side, as I said, the sporting event that we have, we're getting ready for a couple concerts. Phase 2 of the app, where we'll integrate the virtual coin into it, which will make the utility of the coin stronger. And then on real estate side, we have a massive project that we're doing here I'm in Fort Lauderdale, but in Florida, Orlando, that we're going to be releasing the details to. And of course, everything connects to each other, right? So it'll either have a technology component, an entertainment component, or real estate. So on the real estate side, obviously, most people know that we're trying to finalize the details on purchasing the Tony Soprano's house. That'll be able to stay there with the virtual coin. We'll build a meta version of it, which will then, people will be able to see it online. So when you put all those pieces together, that's how the trifecta comes together. So over the next 12 months, I'll be traveling on what they call a roadshow. A roadshow is where you go and speak to investors to raise money for your public entity. And then we just raise the cash, and the cash just funds all the projects that we're doing. So it's going to be an interesting 12 months for sure.
Oh man, that's awesome. I can't wait to see what happens. I hope you get that Sopranos house sorted soon. That'll be cool.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome.
I won't keep you too much longer. Just a couple more questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
So, how did you first get to meet Amanda Sante?
So Amanda Sante came to us when we were thinking about MobmovieCon the first time, and I had talked to him at an airport. I was at an airport, and he was overseas. And Federico is a friend of his, and put me on the phone with him, and I told him I'd be honored to have him as a part of the MobmovieCon. Unfortunately, he was away and couldn't be there. Then the pandemic hit, which again, the pandemic had a lot of negatives and a lot of positives. One of the positives that came out of it is Armand was home. So we actually took a trip to his home. Funny story. We went there not knowing. I thought we'd be there for a half hour, explained to him what virtual cons was. And then all of a sudden we walk in and we ended up staying for 4 hours. He ended up cooking us lunch. We had cigars. And then we just clicked, and he became the chairman of the board. We've done a bunch of events together. He's a great guy. And I look forward to working with him on Gotti and you and on other projects.
Yeah, that's cool. He seems like a cool dude too.
Yeah, wicked cool.
Who's your favorite actor of all time?
I would say it's
top three.
Tough, obviously. Well, I would say Gandolfini was obviously one of the top. I'm a Pacino fan. I would say top 5 would probably be like Tom Hanks, I think, is brilliant. I think Al Pacino is brilliant. I think Johnny Depp is brilliant. Yeah. Obviously Gandolfini is brilliant. And then of course I'd have to say Armand. He's definitely a unrated. He's just so far beyond his years. I mean, he's a real old get into the character type of guy. So I would say those are my top 5.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's incredible having you on here, man. And thanks for your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Listen, anytime I could come on and help you, get messages out to your podcasters. So tell me how you got started. What made you want to do this?
To be honest, it's actually 12 months to this week. My wife was getting treatment for cancer. We drove 2 days to another city, and while she was getting treatment, we're in the hotel room, and she just wanted to watch something while she's resting. So I introduced her to The Sopranos.
That's
and
awesome.
we just talking. I was like, how cool to be. I wonder what these guys are doing now to just talk to them. And she's like, why don't you do it? And then reached out to a couple of people, and it just snowballed from there. I didn't think anyone would say yes, and then
Now you're in Australia?
Yeah, Western Australia.
Awesome. And how's your wife doing now?
I think she's doing good. She's had to go back now. She's doing some more checkups, but we're pretty positive. I think she's.
Well, you tell her Michael Mota said, and all the Soprano family sends our love and our prayers. Good for you. I love hearing stories. Our slogan for SopranosCon and virtual cons is for the fans, by the fans. We started as fans. Everything we do is for the fans. I know it sounds shady, but it's true. Everything that we get to do is something we would want to be able to do as a fan. So being able to allow people to come to the Sopranos house and eventually stay at the Sopranos house or drive in the Sopranos vehicle, all those things are really what drove us to continue and move forward, and we're going to continue moving forward. So keep it up, keep doing your thing, and like I said, that stuff is what inspires people like me to continue wanting to do even more.
Yeah, you definitely inspired me with your work ethic. Like, I just seen you keep going all the time, and I just kept going. I was like, yeah, I got to keep doing this. I always follow you. You're real inspiring, man.
Well, I appreciate that. And listen, you're never going to hit the ball if you don't swing the bat. So all I'm doing is just swinging the bat. And as Mark Cuban said, you only have to be right once.
Yeah,
so as long as I like to say, you throw enough shit against the wall, something's gonna stick.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Well, good luck to you. Thank you. Make sure you send this to me. I'll send it out to all my friends and family and fans. And, let's continue spreading the message. And, I look forward to helping you build out your podcast.
Thanks, man. Thanks very much. I appreciate your time. And yeah, thanks for everything.
My pleasure.
You've been a big influence on me.
God bless everybody. For the fans, by the fans.
Sure.
Talk soon,
man.
Bye-bye. All right.
Bless
God
you,
bless
bye.
you.